from Alexis and Melinda's Art Space, just working in my altered book, another art journal page. This one's done for a challenge. It's a Take 5 art challenge, so there's 5 prompts that you follow. I did this one earlier in the year, over a couple of months, because I sort of did half the page and then had to come back to it because I sort of got busy, and I can't find the prompts for the life of me. I know it was a Take 5 art challenge. I know staples was one of the prompts, green might have been one of the prompts, and a couple of other things, maybe coloured pencil, I don't know. But that's alright, it's a really cool layout, so we'll trudge on. If I find the link to it when I upload this video, I will pop it below. So just reinforcing the spine of my altered book with some masking tape. I do that a lot, especially if you're sort of between 2 signatures and the gap gets a little wide. Also protects your book from a lot of gunk going down your spine. So this black and white photo I wasn't particularly interested in. This is a Mighty Conquerors book, so it did have a lot of interesting black and white photos in it, a lot of sort of war related and not so nice ones. So I thought it was a great book to turn into pretty stuff. So some of the pictures I am going to work on, but this one I just want to obliterate. So I was using some Audi gesso to cover up the black and white photo. You can see it a little in the finished page on the top left hand corner. I've got my book back to front from what the screen is. You can't really see the picture, but you can see the outline of it. So I've seen this on other videos when people gesso both pages and kiss the pages together, and then that sort of creates a dendritic, is that the word? Look to your gesso, and there's a bit more texture, so I did that and dried the texture off. So one of the prompts could have been texture paste, don't know, but I decided to grab my impasto medium. Impasto medium, modelling paste, texture paste, all boils down to similar thing. It will basically dry lumpy, dry raised. So impasto medium you can add to paint, and it's like clear, so it dries clear. Texture paste and what's the other one? Modelling gel, texture paste and whatever the one I just said was. It's late at night tonight. Dry white or whatever the colour they come in. You can get different colours in modelling paste as well. Modelling paste and texture paste usually are white. You can tint them with acrylic paints. This impasto medium is actually clear when it dries. So I just took an old gift card and was sort of slapping it on sort of the middle. I sort of envisaged this to be a reflection in the water. I don't know how I come up with this idea, but I decided I wanted to play with some of the sprays I had, and I sort of discovered sprays and gessoed surfaces don't work well together. So there's a couple of ink sprays that I have had for a while. I'm trying to use up my old stuff. That yellow one is actually a homemade alcohol spray. So these are a couple of water-based sprays, and then I did the homemade alcohol spray as well, using a permanent marker and the isopropyl alcohol. So you can see here the texture paste and the modelling paste is sort of repelling the inks. So I probably worked out that my inks are better on sort of plain paper, non-gessoed paper. And this page also took quite a while to dry. I left it open for a week in my book and it was still tacky. I don't know whether it was a brand of ink sprays or whether they were over gesso, but it was still tacky dry, and you can see a few fingerprints if you look too closely. So that's why this was done over a period of time, because I put a piece of baking paper in between the book, closed it, and sort of was over the page, and then come back to it later and fixed it up. So trying to sort of do more, I wanted sort of an island sort of in the middle, like a land base, and sort of lake at the front and then sort of misty mountains in the background. That was what my head thought this page would do. So just playing around with spraying colours and letting them drip on paper and sort of drying them in between. I don't use a lot of ink sprays in my work, so I don't really know a lot of their properties and how they go on gesso. Obviously found out not so well. So just having a good play around in a spray, trying to get some drippage happening. Did end up with a lot of drippage in the final picture. I love this final picture. At the end you'll see the final result, and I do want to turn this into a canvas. I've got a massive long canvas which would be about 30 centimeters tall and almost a meter wide, that I've had in my stash for ages, and I have earmarked this page for a canvas. So again, the sprays will probably do the same thing because the canvas is gessoed. I'll have to experiment more. My art journal is also a place for experimentation, so if I don't know how an spray ink will react on gesso, I gesso a bit on my page and spray it on, and then spray it on the flat page, and just have a play around. This wasn't a practice page for a canvas, but I love the imagery so much, I have decided I want to one day turn it into a canvas. So we are now in the month of, okay, we're in November, this may go up in December, because I'm trying to get organised and ahead a little bit, because January, February, March are my busy months, coming up to my busy months again. And this was done in April, May, so I'm going through my old stock of videos to edit. So doing this in April, May, as soon as I finished the page, I knew I wanted to make it into a canvas. It's now November, December, hasn't happened yet, may not happen in 2020 either, but it's on my to-do list, and that's a damn long list. Comment in the description box, comment in the comments below if you've got a long to-do list for arty things you want to try or you've seen. Yeah, there's not enough hours in the day. I should cut back on editing YouTube videos and do more art, but I enjoy this part of it. I enjoy interacting with you guys as well, so I just got to find a happy balance and medium. So just lay down more sprays. Not using any water at this stage, just sort of the full sprays. I do have my book propped up on the jar of impasto medium, just so the drips will drip down the book, and sort of getting happy with the page and where it goes. As I said, this page did take quite a while to dry, and I even tried spraying it with hairspray to seal it, but it was still sticky after that, so I'll do something in a minute to it. I was sort of wondering what more sprays to add. I ended up using about 5 or 6, and they're just random ones. I don't even think some of the ones are available now, so even if you wanted to know what colours they are. So this is clear gesso. So this is the point. I pull my book back out again and go, right, this page is not going to get the better of me. I'm going to finish the page. So I decided to add clear gesso. Now clear gesso is a water-based sealer, so it seals what's underneath and gives it a barrier so you can add more stuff on top. And it also took the stickiness away from pages. But unfortunately, because a lot of my ink sprays were water reactive, I was being very quick and not wanting to go over and over in the same spot. I did pick up some of the paint, move it around, or some of the ink, because some of the colours were not permanent. I think 90% of the colours were not permanent. The only one that was the yellowy one, which was the ink, alcohol ink based one. So I decided what I'm going to add to the page now. So I decided to delve into my die cut stash, which I don't use a lot of. I went a little crazy and bought several from overseas, and still adding to my collection. I just don't use them a lot. I suppose what I need to do, actually, I think I need to grab some good quality cardstock, sit there for a day, die cut a whole bunch of stuff and put them in a box, and then when I want to add them, I can just go to the box and grab them and colour them and stick them on my page. I don't actually think of going and getting my die cut machine out and getting my box of dies out and deciding what I want to use when I start an art journal page. So I know that sounds really lazy, unless I start with an idea in my head. So I might do that one day when I'm not doing anything else. Yeah, like, when does that happen? Die cut a fair few out of white cardstock, and if white or black cardstock, black I can use as is, and white I can always colour to match my layouts. So I ended up cutting a third tree. I don't use a third tree. I'm thinking about reflections when I'm doing this page. So a reflection of a tree reflecting into the lake. Now there are several pictures at the end that give you really clear detail and close-ups, because I love how this turned out. So there's a boy and a girl reading a book. So this come in a set of 3 dies, and I mainly got it for the girl sitting there reading a book, because if anyone knows anything about Alexis, my darling daughter that pops on the channel every so often, is a bit of a bookworm and loves books. So this die set I basically only bought for the little girl reading the book, because I thought it'd be cute. And this is the first time I've actually used it, but I do like the tree as well. I've envisaged the tree being good in some Halloween work I want to do as well, and also some outback work would be really cool, silhouetted against a really cool background. So just gluing on the die cut. So a die cut out of black paper that I use for my business. So it's a little thicker than photocopy paper, but it's not cardstock. So it went over the texture paste really well. I think it was 110, 100 and something, 120. I think it's 120 GSM. So a bit thicker than regular photocopy paper. So just using little Birdie Matte Gel Medium to stick them down. It does dry clear. At the moment it's a bit fuzzy until I dry it off. And I was also smoothing it out with my fingers because I didn't want any lumpy bumpy bits of it on. So I've sort of got the tree, one up the right way and one reversed down the bottom, and the girl and boy obviously going for a reflection. So then one of the prompts must have been, maybe it was coloured pencil, I don't know, but these are my Stabilo All pencils. These are my new favourite love pencils. So Stabilo All basically means I'll write on anything, including glass, metal, steel, whatever, and I'm water soluble. So this is really cool. So I can, because I've got gesso here, I've got texture paste, I've got paint, sometimes normal coloured pencils won't actually stick to that sort of surface. Your Stabilo Alls will. And if you're in Australia, they're so easy to get. Officeworks stocks them. But sometimes if you've only got a small Officeworks store like me, you need to order them, and then they'll ship them to the store for free. They're only like $2 each. And then you can go in store and pick them up, and they send them in a very, very large box. Silly Officeworks. And one day I ordered like 5 different colours. They do come in some other colours as well. And they sent them in 5 separate boxes. So we opened 5 separate boxes in the store, and the guy serving me was absolutely in hysterics and said, that is just absolutely ridiculous. And I said that as well. So I left the boxes at the store and just took my 6 pencils home. So because they're water reactive, I'm sort of putting some of the pencil on, and just with a damp brush, you don't want a sopping, dripping brush, just adding and activating some of the lines. So sort of putting ripple lines in. So the last prompt, and I know one of them was staples, because I ummed and ahed and I got to this stage and I thought, right, I want to finish the challenge, but I don't know what I want to do with staples. I didn't really want to staple anything on the page, so I thought, right, I will get really cheeky and I'll use the staple as a stamp and just put little flick of black paint in sort of the background, sort of like trees, like dead trees in the background. I hope that passed as using a staple. It wasn't actually a staple. Well, I did use an actual staple. It was a bit of a pain to hang on to, and I ended up going through a couple of staples to get the black paint on it. But I did use a staple as a mark making tool. So sometimes the prompts is not what I want, but I managed to get around it. So I've got those lovely still photos coming up in a minute to show you some of the detail. As I said, I love this page, and of course I will film the process when I get around to, maybe 2020 or 2030. Actually, let's go 2030. Because then it might get done. I will film the process for you guys and show you how I turn this into a canvas. Thank you for watching. Here are some of the still photos. Now the lighting is a bit different. It's a bit darker than the lighting. It was really hard to get pictures, but you can see the reflecting lines and all the pencil work I did as well. That one's really cool. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now. Let me know if you do the Take 5 art challenges. I like them. They're nice and quick to do, except for this page that took quite a while. Bye for now.